Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. It is time for another episode of my college days. So, believe it or not, I was originally planning on doing a fun vlog today. I wasn't sure if it was going to be um, country pumpkins. I wasn't even sure if it was going to be um, at Devout Park. Originally, I was talking about taking my parents to Devout Park today, and let's just say I got asked to go home early yesterday for personal reasons, but I promise it had nothing to do with me being in trouble. Actually, the complete opposite. For those of you who do not know me, I just started working at Hampton Inn and Suites literally 2 weeks ago, and I just moved to Dry Ridge, Kentucky a week ago. So that is new for me. I am a YouTuber that is originally from Central Florida. I've been YouTubing for almost 8 years, and I am getting married in less than a year to a young, beautiful lady named Katie. You will see her from time to time in some of my vlogs. If you are a returning subscriber, then you know exactly who I am talking about. I just started this brand new YouTube series about a couple of weeks ago. It's called My College Days, and in tonight's topic, I'm going to be discussing what it was like taking remedial classes. So, when I last saw you guys, I talked about my college orientation, and I mentioned what it was like getting a the college student ID, and I even mentioned that I had to take some college remedial classes. So this time we're going to be actually talking about those college remedial classes. I'm just going to give you guys an idea of like what the professors' expectations were like, what the professors were like, and of course what the classes were like, and even some highlights from those classes. We're not going to go into too much detail, but I did want to at least highlight some things. In the meantime, for those of you who are also new to my YouTube channel, I now upload every Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. So typically on Sundays, it could be anything from my college days, which normally is every Sunday. However, though, if for whatever reason I have the opportunity to do an at home vlog, an out of the house vlog is what I meant to say, then instead that my college days vlog will be moved to Wednesday instead. So in the event that I do a out of the house vlog, normally what I will do is I will, depending on the time of the year, vlog something depending on that season, because my YouTube channel is a seasonal YouTube channel. So, like right now, I'm celebrating fall, and how I want to celebrate fall, for example, this Friday is actually opening night of Halloween Haunt. Now, I personally do not like Halloween that much, just because of the fact that um, there's a lot of things in the Bible that talks about being very careful of Halloween, as it is not glorifying God. However, though, I have found loopholes into still vlogging it. So I do it for two reasons. Number one is people still like to see that kind of stuff. So I still go into it, but I keep it at a G rated level. And I still like to talk about my faith even while walking around, but still keeping to that theme park content and showing people like where to go if you're brand new to Halloween Haunt. Like, here's this scare zone, here's this haunted house, and still just walking around the park and not going in and participating in anything but some of the scare zones. And that's as far as I go. And then I get to interact with some of the scare actors, and of course, without hurting them, obviously, I will make sure that I don't just, walk up to them and let them scare me, but you might even see me acting with them too. And trust me, these scare actors that I will interact with, I'm friends with. But one thing you guys should know about me is anytime you see me interacting with a Kings Island employee, obviously I know them, but because it's their job to scare or to entertain, because of my years of acting experience, I'm going to make sure that I'm entertaining you guys by not just going up and being like, oh, hey, how's it going? When I can do that anytime I want. So, to make it more interesting, not only am I walking up to them and playing along with them, but I'm also entertaining you guys by kind of going along with their thing and broadcasting it on YouTube. So, for example, Winterfest, if you guys are familiar with that, sometimes you'll see me sometimes interacting with some of these Kings Island employees, and you might think I don't know them for the life of me, but I actually do, and we actually rehearsed ahead of time. So and a lot of what I'm doing is ad libbed. So like I rehearsed it in a sense like I know what to that I know what I kind of know what I'm gonna say to them in advance. Like I know their character persona and all that. But as far as everything I say to them is completely ad libbed. I have no idea what they're going to say to me other than they're going to talk to me in their character's persona, and I'm just going to go with it. And because of my acting experience, it's like, okay, I don't want to act like they're my friend. I want to talk to them like they're the character I'm talking to. And it makes it more interesting for you guys because you're not watching necessarily David talking to his friends. This is the theme park evangelist. This is you guys getting entertained and seeing Kings Island for what it is. Not this is David going to Kings Island to go hang out with his buddies. You don't need to see that. You did not click on this YouTube channel to see that. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's why I like doing these at home vlogs so I can be more real with you guys. When I'm doing those out of the house vlogs, half of what I do is staged. I'm going to be straight up with you. Half of what I do is just me going with the flow. With half of what I'm doing is me entertaining you guys and informing, educating, and just entertaining in general. I'm not necessarily there to be buddy with you. Now, if I happen to bump into you while I'm out vlogging, that's a different story. But when I'm literally just sitting here in my bedroom or wherever I'm happening to be doing an at-home vlog, or if I'm doing a live stream, that's me being my true self with you. Does that make any sense? And that's why I've decided to start doing these YouTube series like my college days so you guys can get a somewhat good look into my personal life so you guys can get to know me better because I don't want people to think that I'm just here for entertainment purposes. I'm here to be real with you guys too. And you'll find YouTubers like the Tim Tracker, they're kind of like that too. They're one side, they're showing one side at the theme parks, but they're showing a completely different side at home. And they know they have to because when they're walking around Disney and Universal, they're there to inform and educate and entertain. And that's the same thing with me. But when they're at home like me, they're there to just be real with you. So let's be real now by talking about my college days. So, at the beginning of January of 2014, definitely over 10 years ago, if that makes any sense, I started these remedial classes. I was taking a English remedial class, I was taking a math remedial class, and I was taking a reading remedial class. Remedial basically means that it's like high school, but with a college level it's hard to explain. It's like it's got that college level feel to it, but you're not getting any college credits for it. So I get enrolled in this college level college remedial class, for example, and Our desks were literally 3 rows of tables, each with a computer at them. The professor was an older guy. Turns out he was actually an older gentleman that lived by himself in a cabin in downtown Lake Wales, which I found was very interesting. And he came across as a very serious guy that didn't really seem to care about anybody but himself, and he came across as very strict, and he was kind of standoffish and snippy, and I was like, wow, okay then. And I bumped into him one day outside of college, and turns out he was actually a very nice man. And it turns out these professors, and there's a reason why I had that opening that I did. These professors are like me. They have to put on an act. They have to make themselves look tougher than they are sometimes, because they'll get run over otherwise. And as much as I want to be buddy buddy with people at Kings Island, I wouldn't be getting subscribers and nobody would watch my content. Let's just be honest. So that's why I have to compromise when I can do that, when I cannot do that. And, I'm in this class, and he's still going to overall. His rules, like, right off the bat, one of his biggest rules was my class starts promptly at 8 a.m. I'm not even joking. There was one day, it was the day before my birthday that year. I had turned, trying to think here, 21 that year. That's right. It was my 21st birthday. But the day before that was my cousin Nicole's birthday, and I came in 1 minute late. Now I had heard rumors about this professor locking his door, and I was in this guy's class twice because I had to take remedial English level 1 and remedial English level 2. That's what I'm referring to. And I came in 1 minute late. And no, he didn't lock the door. And I guess he had just gotten done attendance. And I got a chance to see my grade for participation in that class, even though I was there 59 minutes or whatever of the class, even though I was actively participating, even though I did all of my classwork, even though I was only 1 minute late. He gave me a big fat 0. And I asked him very nicely, is there a reason why I got 0? Because I was a minute late. And that really stung, because there are jobs out there where you can be busting your butt, where you can be literally doing everything right, but you did the one thing wrong. You were a minute late. And I kind of felt that way at Chick-fil-A. I was literally manager worthy, but I had one flaw. I was always struggling to be on time. And that's the one thing I have not even admitted to Hampton Inn yet. It's the fact that I struggle to be on time at Chick-fil-A, because that's the one thing I have not struggled with at Hampton Inn, because I turned that around right away. I was like, I gotta stop with this. And a lot of my problem wasn't even completely my fault. But aside from that, it's like, if you know you have the power to control something, then do something about it. And that was something my close friend Jeremy always told me. And there goes my water bottle. That's great. So, the one thing that drove me crazy was, I'm sitting in this class, and I usually sat in the second row. And I'm listening to this professor talk. And I remember this one couple. They were, a little on the bigger side. They were very quiet, but they always yawned so much. And I started studying them because I've always been a very observant person. And I happened to notice one day they were the only ones that never actively participated. They were always on time for class, but yet they would just sit there and play around on Google or whatever the entire class. And then when class was over, they just get up and leave. So I don't know how they end up doing in class, but the one thing they always got 100s on was participation every single week, because this professor, no joke, only graded 100 whether you were on time or not. And you had to be right there, right at 8 o'clock on the dot. And it drove me up a wall because, I'm literally busting my butt and I'm pouring my heart into this class. I'm always doing all the classwork. I'm always doing all my homework. And these guys would literally come in every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 9:15, if I remember correctly, and just sit there and play online. But they were always on time, and they always left on time, but yet they always got 100s in participation. And who knows how else they were doing. And I just didn't feel like it was fair, but I just kept telling myself, you know what, David, forget about that. It's not that important. I started telling myself, you need to focus on what's more important, and that is getting yourself through college. And I knew, even back then, I wasn't going to be able to do that without God's help, because the devil was trying to get me to think about those distractions. And God was like, don't worry about those distractions. Focus on yourself. And it's like, oh, that's so hard right now. Because, let's be honest, our worldly flesh, it wants to focus on others. But God always reminds us we need to focus on ourselves. So I was also in this remedial math class, and I just remember being on the struggle bus the entire time. I mean, I'm trying really hard. It was, a tough class, and I don't remember 100% all of it, but I remember bombing the entire class, and I was like, what? Because, with math back then, I was trying so hard. I just did not understand where I was going wrong. I always felt like I was doing it well up here, but it wasn't coming right here at my fingers, like when I, writing it down. And I was just like, I don't understand. And a lot of it was, I thought it was processing correctly up here, but it wasn't. Somehow it was getting lost in transmission up in my brain, and then of course, my brain told my hand to write the wrong thing, and then, how it goes. So, I was also in this other really interesting class. Now, I don't remember what the class was offhand. I think it might have been the reading class for all I know. And the big project that I had to do in that class was I had to do a PowerPoint presentation on a mythical thing or place. And everybody took turns going up to the PowerPoint. And of course, this meant doing a public speech. I was never the biggest fan of public speeches. I mean, back in high school, I used to be like this. And, these days I can do it very easily. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how everybody's going to like this. So I go up to the podium, and this is my favorite part about this entire class, and that's why I want to share it with you guys. Professor was so sweet. I loved this professor, and this was the one I remember the best. She was so nice. She was average height, younger, probably middle-aged lady at the time, and she seemed to really care. And I go, so I know this is going to sound silly, but how many of you seen Atlantis, The Lost Empire by Disney? And everybody looked at me like, what? And I said, so I'm going to show you guys a clip from the movie. And I felt like at the time, this was the best way to introduce my PowerPoint, was by introducing people to that particular scene, how Atlantis got buried under the water. What I was not expecting was for the scene to be super loud. And I was like, oh crap, gotta turn this down. And then what I was really struggling with was trying to find different images on Google of just the real Atlantis, and I kept going back and forth. And I talked about the Shepherd's Journal, I talked about the kings and queens of the past, and the professor said she really liked my PowerPoint, but she didn't like the fact that I couldn't stick to one. I was either talking about Disney's version of it, or I was talking about the real deal that people still talk about to this day. And I could not, just focus on one. And she had a good point, and that was something I really struggled with back then. Was I really felt like I couldn't just focus on one thing. I had to focus on two different things, and it's just like, David, just focus on one thing and stick to it. And it was very frustrating, and I still end up getting an A, but at the same time, thinking back, I could have done a lot better. It's like when I did that high school controversial topic on abortion, which I'm not going to go there because everybody feels differently about it. And all I'm going to tell you guys is I poured a ton of effort into the project. And if you guys know me, then you'll know how I feel about abortion. And I even got my uncle to help me. I didn't have the Creation Museum around. That gives you a hint about how I feel about it. If you're familiar with Answers in Genesis, the Creation Museum, the Fearfully Wonderfully Made exhibit. And I don't remember getting an A on the class. I think I got maybe a B or lower. And I end up losing in the court case. This is your other hint. The teacher said the reason why he didn't give me a better grade is because I put too much leverage on the Bible and not on real life facts. And that was a very good point, because in a real life court case, the Bible is not going to save my neck at all in the discussion. I wish it would, but it will not. And that's just all there is to it. It will in a church, of course. So, I mean, it was kind of the same thing with that, Elena's thing. Yes, I would love to spend more time talking about Disney's Atlantis, because both Katie and I absolutely love the Disney Atlantis movie. However, though, that is just Disney's adaptation of the movie, and Disney's adaptation is completely different than what everybody else knows about Atlantis. And there's been so many different versions of Atlantis. I mean, even more recently, Disney came up with a brand new version of Atlantis. If you guys are familiar with Aquaman, actually not even Disney, excuse me, DC Universe. I'm not even sure why I said Disney, honestly. DC Universe came up with an adaptation of Atlantis. And there's actually now two versions of Aquaman now. So there's the first Aquaman that introduces Atlantis, and then there's a second one where the villain from the first one is trying to break into Atlantis and steal their specific mineral that only grows in Atlantis. And it's just like, honestly, at this point, if anybody even heard the word Atlantis, they probably think, oh, Aquaman, which I would not be surprised by. But anyway, each of my remedial classes were a challenge in their own way. Each of my professors were, honest to God, very nice people. They really cared about me. They may not have shown that in front of the students, but when I got with them in private, they really cared. And I'm going to talk more about how nice my professors were when I do get into my college level classes. And that's when I really started finding out how much they cared. When I get into the college level class portion, you're going to find out how different life got, because it got to a point where if I really wanted a good grade, I had to really work hard for it. That meant spending more time in the Student Success Center working with the free tutors that Polk State College paid for. This was the college I was going to, by the way, at the time. If you're not familiar, if you're not aware, because if I didn't say that, was shame on me then. And just basically having them keep working on it and asking the professors once a week, how am I doing now? And just keep fixing it until the professor basically could not find as many errors. And then I knew 100% for a fact it was finally ready to turn in. So the tutors would basically go over, like, what could I do better every single time the professor went over it with me. And then I would improve upon it. And then I would bring it back to the professor. And then they find more mistakes. It's like, oh my word, why couldn't you find that the first time? Because apparently this was a test for me to see, what I was capable of. That's what I'm getting out of it. I've gone through a lot of challenges in my life. Right now I'm going through the challenge of finding out, like, am I capable of answering the phone and interacting face-to-face with guests and knowing when it's appropriate to answer the phone and when it's appropriate to just tell the guest on the phone, I'm sorry, I cannot talk to you right now. I need to talk to this. Can you please hold? And then you realize in your mind, I need to talk to this guest standing physically in front of me first. Even though the person on the phone probably thinks they're far more important than the person standing in front of you. At the end of the day, your job requires you to focus on the guest in front of you first. And even though that guest on the phone might try to go through guest assistance to get you in trouble, you have some management to back you up on it. So it's just, every single job I've ever worked at, I'm always given a new challenge. And at the very, very beginning, it's very hard. But over time, God helps me out and I learn things. That's kind of where I was with college. It's like college was a challenge. My remedial classes were a challenge. Trying to be on time for my English college composition class was a challenge. And then, I ended up finally giving up on the first remedial math class because I ended up spending more money on it than I anticipated. And my high school best friend said, well, I was actually taking this interesting math class. It was called 0057. I promise has nothing to do with 008. James Bond, in other words. And this professor was a huge Tampa Bay Lightning fan, the official hockey team of Florida, for those of you who do not know. And I ended up taking her class for a good several weeks, and I ended up getting an A in the class. And because this was basically MAT 0018 and 27 rolled together, I was able to immediately advance to college level math. That was literally the best day of my life. Kind of. Not really. I'm being slightly sarcastic. When I was like, yes, I can finally advance to college level math. No, the best day of my life so far has been the day I proposed to Katie. And then I was hit 3 best days of my life so far have been the day I became a Christian. Well, the 2 best days of my life, excuse me. The 2 best days of my life have been the day I became a Christian and the day I proposed to Katie. And my 3rd one next year will be the day I get married to Katie. My worldly friends down in Florida think that Katie still is a waste of space in my life, but let them think that. And, I'll half joke, half be serious with them about certain things about Katie, but at the end of the day, I give them I don't care attitude when it comes to certain things that Katie does because I truthfully don't care. And they might care, but I don't. It's like, Katie does this, so? I'm marrying her. Why should I care? So when I see you guys tomorrow, I'm going to be doing another topic on the history of the theme park evangelist. If you guys give me the chance to look and see. I'm sure you guys will, but I'm planning on looking up to see what the next chapter on my itinerary is. Otherwise, I was planning on making my next topic um, what it was like um, vlogging, or sorry, no, not vlogging. What it was like, how working at Answers in Genesis, excuse me, affected my YouTube channel. I believe that's what I actually wanted to talk to you guys about. That was last week, but I also would like to see where I'm at on my itinerary as well, as have to go all the way back about 4 months now. Just so you guys know, if you're not aware, for those of you who are brand new to my YouTube channel and have hung on with me this long, every Monday when I do the history of the theme park evangelist, I spend the first 10 minutes going over any upcoming vlogs. Sometimes I might use that time to do other personal discussions. Only sometimes, but most of the time, I am discussing any kind of upcoming vlogs coming to my YouTube channel over the next few weeks. I spent about an hour last night just posting up to 3 to 4 weeks worth of upcoming vlogs that are coming to my YouTube channel. Not necessarily posting them, but like scheduling them. They're all gonna coming out every single weekend for the next 3 weeks straight. So I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing that. I intentionally schedule now because it keeps everybody's anticipation high. And I got another one scheduled for the 20th, which I will be able to finally write that post out this Friday. Because I'm only able to schedule on Meta Business Suite once, up to 1 month in advance. So I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.